On today's episode of Everything is Fake, let's talk about your beloved mushroom supplement. Yes, your lion's mane is bullshit. I'm very sorry to tell you, and I'm going to explain to you why. Essentially, what happened was when the whole mushroom boom happened a few years ago, a lot of these big companies that kind of monopolized the mushroom supplement industry realized that they can save a lot of time and money by not actually growing the mushrooms to maturity, which is what we call the fruiting body. You know, the actual mushroom that our ancestors have been interfacing with for millions of years. And what happened is a lot of these big companies stopped growing fruiting bodies. And what they're selling you, you can even look up Paul Stamets's patent. It will tell you that the final product of that capsule that you're putting in your mouth is up to 60% the grain or oats that it was grown on. So you are taking a grain supplement that is 60% grain and 40% mycelium, which is like the root of the mushroom. And conveniently, a lot of these companies, like I just mentioned, are owned by these quote unquote top researchers in the field who are now using their position of power to say that the mycelium has all the health benefits you need and you don't need the fruiting body in there, which goes against intuitively everything that eating mushrooms for millions of years stands for. Nobody in their right mind would go out of their way to go dig up the mycelium and not eat the actual fruiting body of the mushroom. Now, yes, is the mycelium good for you and does it contain, beneficial alkaloids? Absolutely. But to not grow the mushrooms to maturity at all, I think is some very dishonest and deceptive marketing going on. Calling it a mushroom supplement when it doesn't actually contain mushrooms is not fair. It is not transparent. So this is what a lot of these big companies are doing. There are some good ones out there who do grow to fruiting body, and fruiting body mushrooms is what we put in the Keto Brains nootropic creamer. So we have a very efficient dose of lion's mane mushroom in here, okay? And the difference is that it is the fruiting body. It is not grain with a little bit of mycelium on it. So this way you know that you are actually getting the nootropic cognitive benefits of the lion's mane mushroom. It's not that medicinal mushrooms are a scam or something. They're very great. They're very healthy. They're very good for us in a multitude of ways. But you got to make sure that you're getting a good quality source. That's what happens to anything once it booms onto the scene, any sort of drug, any sort of supplement. What happens is the original form has to get diluted down in order for it to become a mega profitable product. And so at Keto Brains, we do not skimp out on that. Every nootropic in here is very high quality. The alpha GPC, for example, that is coming from Europe. It is pharmaceutical grade. It passes a lot of strict standards in Europe when most people are getting their alpha GPC from China. Made in some clandestine lab. So everything in the Keto Brains nootropic creamer is as high quality as it can possibly get, because there's no point in selling anything else if you actually care about contributing to the health and wellness and well-being of the planet. So that is why we do that. We also have the C8 MCT and the coconut milk powder, which I really like because when you add that to your black coffee, you're not invading your stomach with this black acidic substance. You've now turned it into a more fatty, nootropic beverage. Like, it really is the most simple hack. It mixes up very simply. It's creamy and delicious. And it takes what is otherwise a pretty boring and archaic nootropic, which is just black coffee containing caffeine. You can now synergize that nootropic, caffeine, with all of these other nootropics, plus the fats. So now you have, like I said, a very creamy, palatable beverage that's going to truly energize the body, not just give you a caffeine stimulation that you're going to come down from. The fats and the other nootropics in here make for a full-bodied experience of energy production. So just keep that in mind, my friends, the next time you're on the market for some medicinal mushrooms. Of course, you should get some Keto Brains, so you're getting this in your body every morning. But let's say you wanted to use reishi or cordyceps or something like this. Just make sure that you are doing your research and making sure that that company is using fruiting bodied mushrooms. Hope this helps, my friends. Namaste. Get some keto brains. Link in the description.